Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury and Bulldog Nation, yesterday President Trump went down to Georgia, to quote a Charlie Daniels song, and held a rally. And I'm going to talk about that briefly. But I want to just cover the presidential election in some type of a summary form to point out to you that not only is there evidence in the traditional sense, but there is some data that is irrefutable. First and foremost, Donald J. Trump increased his vote amongst blacks, which, by the way, far surpassed John McCain and Mitt Romney, even in 2016, from 8% to 12%. There are political scientists that will tell you that if you get 10% or more and you're the Republican candidate, you can't lose. He went from 8% to 12%. In addition to that, he increased his numbers in the Hispanic community from 28% to 35%. So let that think in. Those two groups, Trump's numbers went up from 2016. Here's another fact. 10% of Biden voters said that had known about the Hunter Biden shenanigans, they wouldn't have voted for him. See, part of this conspiracy and this completely unfair election that nobody wants to attribute to it is what the media and big tech did. I mean, the fraudulent, stolen election is not just what was done with voting machines and mail-in ballots. It was whatever all happened with the media and tech before the election. And there's a great example where Jack Dorsey at Twitter says, yeah, we probably mishandled that. You wonder why Trump sees with anger? He has every right to be. Then we find out that the voting machines in Detroit were online. They were actually online. What the heck? And a federal judge, at least one local trial court judge, is going to allow the investigation of the Dominion voting machines. Interesting. And you know what? Even though that's just one state, if that uncovers something, that will apply to the entire Dominion. By the way, isn't it weird that Dominion's name is Dominion? And I think their motto is changing the way you vote or something like that. I mean, it's a little weird. In Nevada, we found out that they gave gift cards, particularly to Native American Indians. That's vote buying. That's bribery on behalf of the Biden campaign, giving out $25 to $500 gift cards to go vote. I mean, this is insane. And again, always play the reverse. What if Trump did that? Here's something that is very unique statistically. Trump gained 100, the states did, all the states. The Republicans gained 100 legislative seats and flipped another. What does that mean? That means on the ground in these local communities, the Republican Party did extremely well. Yet Biden won. There's a Zuckerberg group that allegedly has given out hundreds of millions to help with mail-in balloting, paying poll workers, so forth and so on. So here's the guy that owns Facebook, and he has a foundation that is helping perpetrate the fraud. And he's got the nerve to go before a Senate hearing and act like, we're just being fair here. We don't want to. He's actively involved in helping the Democrats win the election. Hundreds of millions. In Georgia, the Democrats were allowed to help people correct their ballots. Something that did not happen with the Republicans. Also, the percentage of mail-in ballots. We're talking absentee ballots. Mail-in ballots are a form of absentee ballots. There's a percentage of those that are always rejected, and it's a pretty good number. Well, in this election, the rejection rate was like 0.003. Minuscule. Oh, so all of a sudden, they cured all those problems? Hell no, they didn't. Something that I want to point out is the Trump coalition of voters. You know who usually supports the Democratic presidential candidate? Police. Not this time. Where were the firemen and the police? Trump. Veterans. Trump. Soldiers. Trump. Sailors. Trump. Farmers. Trump. The working man. Trump. Even a lot of union guys. Trump. Why? Come on, the pipeline. I mean, you look at Christian coalition, the pro-lifers. I mean, when you think about the increased Hispanic, increased blacks, I mean, when you look at the coalition that made up the Trump voters, you got to be scratching your head. How the hell did he lose this thing? Of course, we know. Then you have Biden. Although I've coined the term Biden. Biden, 16% less counties won than ever before. He only won like 500 total counties. Think about all the counties. Just to put that in perspective, folks, there's 120 counties in Kentucky. There's 90 counties, I believe, in Ohio. Think about that. He only won 500 counties in the entire country. Some of these Secretary of States, like Georgia says, we can't upset the will of the people. And we're not talking about the will of the people. We're talking about the will of the political gangsters. A fraudulent vote doesn't, this is the will of the people. The courts can't overturn the will of the people. It's not the will of the people. It's the will of the political gangsters. Here's another one. Trump won 18 of 19 bellwether counties, and he won Ohio and Florida. Bellwether states. You don't win the presidency without winning Ohio. Think about that. If you're a Republican, you got to win Ohio. 18 of 19 bellwether counties. He wins Ohio and Florida. All these other things that I've gone over with you, and he loses. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury and Bulldog Nation, this was an election of political gangsterism. And let me tell you something else, too, that really pees me off, going back to the Georgia rally. Trump goes down there, and all these politicians are saying, oh, if Trump keeps talking about stealing the election, that's really going to hurt him in the U.S. Senate races and blah, 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 blah. Really? Who is the guy that made all these things in this election possible, including picking up House seats? Trump. Trump, 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 Trump. And then they pick at him. The pundits pick at him. Trump went down there and he announced the election was stolen. Guess what? Getting his people revved up. That's what they need. You don't think those two Republican U.S. Senate candidates need the Trump voters fired up? And what did Trump also tell them? Go vote so the communists and socialists don't win. I listened to a moron this morning. I never listened to WLW because it sucks. The host sucks, the commercials suck, the news sucks. But I woke up this morning, boom, WLW was on because we were listening to the football game on the way home from the Greyhound Grill. And you know what? Mike McConnell has this moron on who's saying, oh, Trump's really going to hurt him in Georgia, blah, 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 blah. Really? Trump's the one that's going to make sure they win Georgia. They pick at Trump. They all do. Yet, he's the guy that gets it done. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Have a great day.